The recreation hall on Station Kelvar 9 smelled like synthetic alcohol and recycled air. Commander Thrak sat at the central table, his forearms spread wide in what his species considered a posture of dominance. Around him, a dozen officers from various worlds watched with the kind of anticipation that comes right before someone makes a spectacular fool of themselves. "Another round," Thrak bellowed, his mandibles clicking with amusement. "And someone fetch that human, the small one. What's her name?" "Lieutenant Voss, sir," offered a young Krellian ensign, his scales rippling nervously. Yes, Voss." Thrak's primary eyes gleamed. "I want to show her something educational." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Everyone knew Thrak's opinion of humans. He'd made it abundantly clear during the last 3 staff meetings, 2 training exercises, and 1 particularly uncomfortable diplomatic dinner. Humans were weak. Humans were soft. Humans had no business serving in the Galactic Defense Corps alongside real warriors. Never mind that humanity had been winning battles for the Corps for the past 15 years. Never mind that human tactical innovation had saved countless lives. Never mind any of that, because Thrak had made up his mind. And Thrak was not the kind of being who let facts interfere with his prejudices. The doors hissed open, and Lieutenant Maya Voss walked in. She was, by human standards, average height, maybe 5'6". Slim build, dark hair pulled back in a regulation bun, brown eyes that looked perpetually tired. She wore her uniform like she'd rather be wearing anything else, and she moved with the kind of economy that suggested she'd learned not to waste energy on unnecessary flourishes. "You wanted to see me, Commander?" Her voice was flat, professional, giving away nothing. Thrak's mandibles spread in what might have been a grin. "Lieutenant Voss!" Yes. Come, join us. We were just having a discussion about physical capability across species." Maya's eyes flicked to the crowd, cataloging faces, reading the room. She'd walked into an ambush, and she knew it. "Sir, I have duty shift in 20 minutes. This won't take long." Thrak gestured to the table with his lower right arm. On it sat his personal sidearm, a Krethian battle pistol. The weapon was massive, designed for beings with Thrak's considerable strength. Its grip alone was the size of a human forearm. "Tell me, Lieutenant, what do you know about Krethian metallurgy?" "Enough to pass the Corps weapons certification, sir." "Humor me." Maya sighed, the sound barely audible. Krethian weapons are forged from compressed duranium alloys. Tensile strength approximately 4 times that of standard military-grade steel. Heat resistant up to 3,000 degrees Kelvin. Designed to withstand the grip strength of species significantly stronger than humans. "Excellent!" Thrak picked up the pistol with one hand, bouncing it casually. To him, it weighed nothing. "And human weapons? Tell me about those." "Lighter materials. Polymer composites, mostly. Designed for accuracy and ease of use, rather than raw durability. Because humans are weak." The room went quiet. Not the shocked kind of quiet. The anticipatory kind. Everyone leaned forward slightly, waiting to see how the human would react. Maya's expression didn't change. "Because humans design weapons for efficiency, sir. We don't need to prove anything to our equipment." Oh, that got a reaction. Several officers made sounds that might have been laughter, or might have been agreement. Thrak's mandibles clicked sharply, a sign of irritation in his species. "Efficiency," he repeated, making the word sound like an insult. "Is that what you call it when you need mechanical assistance to do what other species accomplish with their natural strength?" "Yes, sir. We call it using our brains." Another ripple of sound. Thrak's skin began to darken, shifting toward the deep purple that indicated anger. He set the pistol down on the table with more force than necessary. "Pick it up." "Sir?" "The pistol. Pick it up." Maya looked at the weapon, then at Thrak, then back at the weapon. "Is that an order, sir?" "It is a request. Surely you can manage that much." She stepped forward and wrapped both hands around the grip. The pistol was comically large in her grasp. She lifted it, straining visibly, and managed to raise it about 6 inches off the table before setting it back down. "As expected," Thrak announced to the room, "a human requires both hands to lift what I can twirl on one finger. This is the species we're told to respect, as equals." Maya said nothing. Her face had gone very still, very blank. The kind of blank that meant she was thinking hard about something. "Commander," she said quietly, "may I ask you a question?" "By all means." "That pistol. How much do you value it?" Thrak's eyes narrowed. "It was a gift from the War Marshal of Krethia. It has been in my family for 6 generations. Why?" "Just wondering." Maya reached out and picked up the pistol again, this time changing her grip. Instead of trying to wield it like a weapon, she held it horizontally, one hand on the barrel, one on the grip. "You know what's funny about Krethian metallurgy?" "Enlighten me." "It's strong. Really strong. Compression strength is incredible. But tensile strength?" She shifted her grip slightly. "That's a different story." "What are you babbling about?" "Tensile strength is resistance to pulling apart. Compression strength is resistance to pushing together. Most people confuse them. Krethian metals are great at one, not so great at the other. It's basic materials science, but I guess not everyone pays attention during engineering lectures." Thrak was standing now, all 4 arms tense. "Put down my pistol." "In a second." Maya's hands began to move, slowly at first, then with increasing pressure. Her forearms tensed, veins standing out, her jaw clenched. "See? The thing about humans! We might not be the strongest species. We're definitely not the fastest. We can't breathe methane. We can't see ultraviolet. We can't regenerate lost limbs." The barrel of the pistol began to bend. "But we are stubborn." The metal groaned. "We are creative." The bend became more pronounced. "And we really, really don't like being underestimated." With a final surge of effort, Maya bent the Krethian battle pistol nearly in half. The barrel now pointed at a 90-degree angle from the grip. She set it carefully back on the table, the metallic clunk echoing in the absolutely silent room. "I believe that's what you wanted to see, sir. A demonstration of capability." She straightened her uniform, which hadn't even wrinkled. "Will that be all?" Thrak stared at his ruined weapon. His skin had gone from purple to a pale gray. His mandibles hung open. His 4 arms trembled. "You—" The word came out strangled. "You destroyed." "I demonstrated the principle of leverage, sir, and the importance of understanding material properties before making assumptions." Maya checked her wrist display. "I really do have duty shift now. With your permission?" She didn't wait for an answer. She turned and walked toward the door, her steps measured and calm. Behind her, the room erupted into chaos, different species all talking at once, some laughing, some angry, all of them shocked. Just before the door closed, Maya heard Thrak's voice rise above the din. "Guards! Arrest that human!" She didn't run. Running would have been an admission of guilt, and Maya Voss had learned long ago that the best defense was acting like you had every right to do exactly what you'd done. She continued walking down the corridor at a normal pace, acknowledging other crew members with professional nods, until she reached the nearest intersection. Then she ducked into a maintenance shaft. "Oh, that was stupid," she muttered to herself, climbing down the ladder into the station's service level. "That was so incredibly stupid." But it had also felt really, really good. The service level was dim, lit only by emergency strips along the walls. It smelled like ozone and machine oil. Maya navigated by memory, taking turns at junctions, heading deeper into the station's guts. She'd mapped these passages during her first week aboard. Nobody else bothered. They all used the main corridors. But Maya had been in enough tight situations to know that an escape route was always worth the time investment. Behind her, she heard the distinctive stomp of Crethean guards in the main corridor above. They were moving fast, probably checking her quarters first. She had maybe 10 minutes before they thought to search the service areas. Her communicator chirped. She almost ignored it, then saw the ID. Lieutenant Kess, one of the few beings on this station she actually considered a friend. "Voss," she answered quietly. "Are you insane?" Kess's voice was a harsh whisper. "The entire command deck is going crazy. Thrak wants you in the brig. Captain Helm is trying to calm him down, but you bent his family heirloom in half. It was making a point. It was committing career suicide. Where are you?" "Service level, Section 12. A pause. "You're running." "I'm tactically repositioning." "Maya." Kess dropped the formal tone. "They're saying you destroyed personal property. They're talking about court-martial. This is serious." "I know." Maya rounded another corner, descended another ladder. "But Kess, you should have seen his face. He's been pushing human crew around for months. Someone had to push back." "Not like this. Not by destroying his property. Technically, I demonstrated the structural weakness inherent in Crethean metallurgy when subjected to perpendicular force along the barrel axis. If he'd actually studied the technical specifications of his own weapon, he'd know that excessive lateral torque would compromise the molecular bonds in the alloy. I just applied basic physics." Silence on the other end. Then, quietly, "Did you actually just make that up?" "About 60%. "I hate you sometimes." "No, you don't." "No, I don't." Kess sighed, the sound rattling through his species' multiple throats. "Listen, Captain Helm wants to see you, personally, in her ready room, alone." "Is that wise?" "Probably not, but she was very specific. She said, and I quote, 'Tell Lieutenant Voss to get her stubborn human rear to my office before I let Thrak tear apart my station looking for her.'" Maya smiled despite herself. Captain Helm was a Vortian, a species known for their pragmatism and their complete intolerance for drama. She'd probably seen the whole incident, probably had opinions about it, and probably wanted to handle this before it became a diplomatic incident. "Tell her I'll be there in 5 minutes." "You're going?" "I was always going. I just needed to make Thrak work for it a little." She ended the call and changed direction, heading for the captain's section of the station. As she climbed back to the main levels, she mentally prepared her defense. Yes, she'd destroyed personal property. But Thrak had been harassing human crew members for months. Yes, she'd acted without authorization. But he'd essentially challenged her in front of witnesses. Yes, she might face consequences. But some things were worth the price. Besides, she had evidence. Her personal recorder, standard issue for all Corps officers, had been running the entire time. Every word Thrak said, every insult, every challenge. The Corps might not like insubordination, but they liked bullying even less. The captain's ready room was at the end of a short corridor. 2 guards stood outside, both Vortian like the captain. They eyed Maya as she approached, but didn't stop her. "Lieutenant Voss, reporting as requested." "Go on in," one guard said. His tone suggested he either pitied her or admired her. Possibly both. The door opened. Maya stepped through. Captain Helm sat. Behind her desk, her 4 eyes arranged in a square pattern on her face, all focused on Maya with varying degrees of intensity. Her skin, normally a pleasant blue, had taken on orange undertones, stress colors. "Sit," she said. Maya sat. "Explain." "Not an invitation." A command. Maya took a breath and activated her recorder, setting it on the desk between them. I'd prefer to show you, sir. She played the recording. All of it. From the moment she entered the recreation hall to the moment the pistol bent. The captain watched, her eyes never leaving Maya's face, even as Thrack's voice filled the room with casual contempt. When it finished, silence stretched for 10 seconds. 20. 30. Finally, Captain Helen spoke. You realize this doesn't make you look innocent. No, sir. You destroyed a priceless family heirloom. Yes, sir. And you did it deliberately, with full knowledge of the consequences. Yes, sir. Good. The captain's skin shifted to a satisfied green. I'm tired of Thrack's nonsense. I'm tired of him undermining human crew. I'm tired of him treating my ship like his personal dominance display arena. But I couldn't do anything about it without evidence of actual harm. You just gave me that evidence. Maya blinked. Sir? He challenged you, specifically and deliberately, in front of witnesses. He made it a test of species capability. You demonstrated that humans are more than capable. The fact that his weapon couldn't withstand basic mechanical stress? That's on Krethian engineering, not on you. I see. However, the green shifted back to orange. You did destroy personal property. I can't ignore that. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to be officially reprimanded. 3 days suspension. No pay. And you're going to submit a formal apology to Commander Thrack. Maya's stomach sank. An apology. A formal one, in writing, following Standard Corps protocol. The captain's eyes glittered. Protocol which, if I recall correctly, requires detailed explanation of the circumstances leading to the incident. Understanding dawned. A formal apology would require Maya to describe exactly what happened, which meant putting Thrack's behavior on official record, which meant it would go up the chain of command, which meant... I understand, sir. Good. Draft it by tomorrow. I'll review it personally before it's filed. Captain Helm leaned back. Dismissed, Lieutenant. Maya stood, retrieved her recorder, and headed for the door. Just as it opened, the captain spoke again. Voss? Sir? How much force did that actually take? Maya smiled. About 200 pounds of perpendicular pressure, sir. Well within human capability. I probably could have bent it into a pretzel if I'd had more time. Noted. And Voss? Next time you decide to make a point, give me advance warning. I like to have popcorn ready for these things. Maya left the ready room feeling considerably better than she'd felt entering it. The guards outside were definitely smirking now. Word would spread fast. By tomorrow, everyone on station would know that a human lieutenant had bent a Krethian battle pistol in half and gotten away with a slap on the wrist. She made it 3 steps down the corridor before her communicator chirped again. Different ID this time. One she didn't recognize. Voss here. Lieutenant, this is Admiral Crane. A human voice. Male, older. I'm calling from Corps Command on Earth. Do you have a moment? Maya stopped walking. An admiral, from Earth, calling her directly. This was either very good or very bad. Yes, sir, of course. I've been reviewing the incident on Kelvar 9. Captain Helen forwarded me the recording. Fascinating stuff. Tell me, Lieutenant, have you ever considered a transfer? Sir, we're putting together a new unit. Human-focused, diplomatic security, cultural liaison, that sort of thing. Basically, we send human teams to situations where our particular brand of stubborn creativity might be useful. Interested? Maya's mind raced. A transfer off Kelvar 9, away from Thrack, into something that sounded like it might actually use her skills properly. What's the catch, sir? A dry laugh. Smart question. The catch is you'd be dealing with situations exactly like today. Species who underestimate humans, who think we're weak, who need to be shown otherwise. It's not an easy job, and it's definitely not safe. But it is necessary. When would I start? Assuming you accept, 2 weeks, report to Luna Station for training, and Lieutenant, bring that recorder. We're going to use your little demonstration as teaching material. Maya smiled. Understood, sir. I accept. Excellent. Welcome to Special Operations, Lieutenant. I think you're going to fit right in. The call ended. Maya stood in the corridor, slightly stunned, processing what had just happened. She'd bent a pistol, faced potential court-martial, and somehow ended up with a promotion and a transfer. Humans, she thought, really were good at turning disasters into opportunities. She resumed walking, heading for her quarters. She had an apology to write, a transfer to prepare for, and probably a celebration to attend once word got out. The corridor ahead was empty, quiet, just the hum of station systems and her own footsteps. Behind her, somewhere in the recreation hall, Commander Thrack was probably still staring at his ruined pistol, trying to figure out how a weak human had done the impossible. Maya hoped he was learning something from the experience, but she doubted it. Luna Station orbited Earth like a steel crown, all gleaming modules and docking spines. Maya arrived on a transport that smelled like recycled protein bars and disappointment, carrying everything she owned in 2 regulation duffel bags. The station was massive compared to Kelvar 9, housing over 15,000 personnel from across the galaxy. But her assignment sent her to a section she'd never heard mentioned in any official documentation. Sub-level Omega. No directory listing, no public access. Just a coded keycard and instructions to report to Room 7 Alpha by Oro 800 hours. She found it behind a maintenance junction, past 3 security checkpoints, down a corridor that looked like it had been forgotten during the last renovation. The door was unmarked except for a small plaque that read Cultural Integration Division in 6 languages, including Standard English. Maya pressed her palm to the scanner. The door opened with a hiss that sounded almost relieved, like it hadn't moved in years. Inside was chaos, given form and function. The room stretched larger than should have been possible given the station's exterior dimensions, probably some trick of modular expansion. Equipment covered every surface: weapons racks, training dummies made from at least 40 different alien species, holographic projectors cycling through combat scenarios, and what appeared to be an actual tree growing in the corner, despite being in a space station. "You must be Voss," said a voice from somewhere above her. Maya looked up. A woman hung upside down from a ceiling beam, doing pull-ups with her legs hooked over the metal. She had dark skin, arms that could probably break concrete, and a grin that suggested she found everything in life mildly amusing. "Lieutenant Maya Voss, reporting for duty," Maya said, managing not to sound surprised. The woman dropped from the beam, landing in a crouch that should have shattered her knees, but didn't. She straightened, and Maya realized she was looking at someone who moved like violence was a second language. "Captain Reina Okoye. I run this circus." She stuck out a hand. Her grip was firm without being a dominance display. Professional. "Welcome to the unit nobody admits exists." The Admiral mentioned diplomatic security. That's the polite version. Reina walked toward a conference table that looked like it had survived several explosions. The real version is we handle situations where being human is tactically advantageous. Sometimes that means negotiation. Sometimes that means demonstration. Sometimes that means scaring the living daylights out of species who think they own the galaxy. Sounds like my kind of job. I read your file. Bent a Krethian battle pistol with your bare hands after the commander spent 3 months being an insufferable ass. Reina laughed, the sound rich and genuine. That's exactly the kind of creative problem-solving we need. But let me be clear about something up front. This job will put you in danger. Real danger. The kind where you might not come home. You understand? Maya thought about Thrak's face. About years of being underestimated, dismissed, treated like humanity's contribution to the core was some kind of charity case. About all the times she'd bitten her tongue and followed orders and pretended that casual bigotry was just cultural differences. I understand, and I'm in. Good. Because we ship out in 72 hours. Reyna pulled up a holographic display. Let me introduce you to your new team. Over the next hour, Maya met the people she'd be trusting with her life. First was Marcus Webb, a former combat engineer who'd lost his left arm to a plasma mine and replaced it with something that looked military-grade illegal. He specialized in what he called adaptive demolition, which apparently meant blowing things up in creative ways. Pleasure, he said, crushing her hand in a grip augmented by hydraulics. Heard about the pistol thing? Nicely done. I once bent a support beam to trap a Vorgesh war chief in his own throne room. We should compare notes. Then came twins, Jada and Jamal Foster, technical specialists who'd grown up on Mars and spoke 4 human languages plus another dozen alien ones. They finished each other's sentences and could hack any system in known space given enough time and coffee. We heard you made a Krethian cry, Jada said. That's our kind of energy, Jamal added. Did he actually cry? Maya asked. According to our sources, yes, they said in unison. The last member was quiet, standing apart from the group. Lieutenant Takeshi Yamamoto, formerly of the Core Intelligence Division. He had the kind of stillness that made you forget he was there until he wanted to be noticed. Voss, he said with a slight nod, your tactical assessment during the Kelvar 9 incident was sound. Recorded evidence, controlled environment, witnesses, well executed. Thanks, Maya said, filing away that this man had access to information that should have been sealed. Reyna clapped her hands once, pulling everyone's attention. All right, team, let's talk about our first mission. The holographic display shifted, showing a planet Maya didn't recognize. Purple oceans, green continents, 3 small moons. This is Verdania Prime, home to the Verdanian Collective, a species that recently applied for core membership. They're herbivores, pacifists, extremely intelligent. Their technology is centuries ahead of most member species in medical science and sustainable energy. So, what's the problem? Marcus asked. The problem is, the Borvakian Empire has decided Verdania Prime would make an excellent agricultural colony. The Borvakians are, as you may know, aggressive expansionists with zero respect for territorial rights. Maya knew the Borvakians, 8 feet tall, built like organic tanks, culturally obsessed with martial prowess. They made the Krethians look subtle. The Verdanians have refused to fight back, Reyna continued. Complete pacifism. Won't even develop defensive weapons. The Borvakians are treating this as an open invitation. They've landed occupation forces in 3 major cities. And the Corvs? Jada asked. Can't officially intervene until Verdania is a member, which takes 6 months minimum. By then, the planet will be conquered. Reyna's expression hardened. Unofficially, we're going to give the Borvakians a reason to leave. How? Maya asked. By reminding them that strength isn't just about size. Reyna smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. We're going to scare them off. 72 hours later, Maya was strapped into a drop shuttle descending through Verdania Prime's atmosphere. The planet looked beautiful from orbit, all those purple oceans catching triple moonlight. Up close, though, she could see the scorch marks where Borvakian ships had enforced their landing. Remember the plan, Reyna said over the tactical channel. We're not here to fight. We're here to demonstrate. Demonstrate what? Marcus asked, checking his explosive charges for the third time. That humans are the scariest species in the galaxy when we want to be. They landed outside the capital city, in a region the Borvakians had designated as a security zone, meaning no Verdanians allowed, only occupation forces. The shuttle touched down in a clearing, and Maya's squad deployed with practiced efficiency. The air smelled like cinnamon and ozone. Gravity was slightly lighter than Earth standard, which would give them an advantage. Temperature was comfortable, humidity low. Good conditions for what they were about to do. Contacts, Takeshi said quietly. 6 Borvakians, heading this way. Patrol pattern. Perfect, Reyna said. Everyone ready? Maya checked her equipment. Standard corps armor, no weapons except a sidearm she wouldn't need. Her real weapons were psychology, physics, and a willingness to do things that looked impossible. The Borvakians emerged from the tree line, massive forms moving with the confidence of apex predators. Their armor was ceremonial, all spikes and engravings designed to intimidate. Their weapons were oversized, compensating for insecurity with raw firepower. The lead Borvakian, who had more spikes than the others, and probably thought that made him special, stopped when he saw the human team. "What is this?" His voice was a rumble like distant thunder. "Humans? Here?" "Cultural integration exercise," Reyna said pleasantly. "We're studying your occupation techniques. Very impressive." "Really? The way you've terrified a species that can cure cellular decay?" "Outstanding work." The Borvakian's face plates shifted, a sign of confusion. "You mock me?" "No. I'm genuinely complimenting your ability to beat up pacifists. That takes real courage." Now the faceplates shifted to anger. "You dare." "I do dare. In fact, let me show you something interesting." Reyna stepped forward, and Maya saw the other Borvakians tense. "Your armor. Beautiful craftsmanship. How thick is the chest plate?" 3 inches of compressed durasteel. It can withstand plasma fire." "Impressive. Can it withstand this?" Reyna drove her fist into the Borvakian's chest plate. Once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th hit, the metal cracked. On the 5th, it shattered, pieces falling to the ground like broken pride. The Borvakian stared at his ruined armor, at the dent shaped like human knuckles, at Reyna, who was flexing her hand like she'd just finished a light workout. "How?" he managed. "Bone density. Humans evolved on a high-gravity world. Our skeletons are reinforced with calcium phosphate structures your species never developed. What feels like a light punch to us registers as a sledgehammer to you." Reyna smiled. "But that's just biology. Want to see what we can do with training?" She nodded to Marcus. He stepped forward, grabbed a fallen tree trunk with his augmented arm, and threw it. The tree sailed over the Borvakians' heads and crashed into the forest 200 yards away. "That was just one arm," Marcus said. "You should see what I can do with explosives." The Borvakians were backing up now, their confidence evaporating. Maya decided it was her turn. "Or we could talk about material science," she said, walking toward their weapons. "May I?" The nearest Borvakian was too shocked to stop her. She took his rifle, a massive thing designed for beings twice her size, and examined it with professional interest. Interesting design. Heavy caliber, gas-operated, probably kicks like a mule. The barrel is reinforced duranium, very sturdy. The stock is composite material, flexible but strong. Good engineering. She shifted her grip. "But you made the same mistake the Crethians make. You designed it to withstand compression force, not torsional stress." She began to twist the barrel. Slowly at first, then faster, muscles straining, until the metal groaned and bent, the rifle's barrel corkscrewing like taffy. "See? Basic physics." She handed the ruined weapon back. You might want to review your manufacturing specifications. The Borvakians were definitely retreating now, but Reyna wasn't done. One more thing, she said. Jada, Jamal, you're up. The twins pulled out tablets and started typing. Above the clearing, every Borvakian ship in orbit suddenly went dark. Then they lit up again, but their identification signatures had changed. Now they all read, Warning, Quarantine Zone, Biological Hazard, Do Not Approach. We just convinced every ship in this system that your fleet is infected with a synthetic plague, Jada explained. It'll take your tech teams 3 weeks to undo the code, Jamal added. Assuming they can find it, they said together. The lead Borvakian had regained some composure. This is an act of war. No, Takeshi said, speaking for the first time. His voice was soft, almost gentle, which made it terrifying. This is a demonstration. War would involve us actually trying. War would mean your fleet doesn't just go dark, it goes away. Permanently. War would mean we stop being polite. Silence fell over the clearing. The Borvakians looked at each other, at their ruined armor and weapons, at the humans who stood calm and unbothered by what they'd just done. Finally, the leader spoke. What do you want? Leave this planet, Reyna said simply. The Verdanians asked you nicely. Now we're asking less nicely. Take your ships, take your soldiers, and find somewhere else to prove how tough you are. Because if you stay, we'll come back. And next time, we won't demonstrate. We'll educate. Thoroughly. The Borvakian's face plates shifted through several emotions before settling on something that might have been understanding. Or fear. Sometimes those look the same. We will consider your request. You have 24 hours, Reyna said. After that, we stop asking. The Borvakians left, moving faster than their dignity probably preferred. Maya watched them go, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and exhaustion. Her hands hurt from bending the rifle. Her heart was racing from the adrenaline. But they'd done it. Without firing a shot, they'd convinced an entire occupation force to reconsider. Well, Marcus said, that was fun. Think they'll actually leave? Jada asked. They'll leave, Takeshi said with certainty. We didn't just scare them. We made them question everything they thought they knew about power. Reyna nodded. That's the goal. Let them wonder what else humans can do. Let them imagine scenarios. Fear of the unknown is always stronger than fear of the known. They returned to the shuttle and lifted off, watching as Borvakian ships began departing from orbit. It took 18 hours instead of 24, which Maya considered a victory. The Verdanians sent a formal thank you message that included recipes for 36 dishes and an invitation to visit once they achieved Corps membership. Back on Luna Station, Admiral Crane reviewed their mission report with an expression that might have been approval. Effective, he said. Efficient. No casualties, no diplomatic incidents we can't explain away. Good work. Thank you, sir, Reyna said. However, the Admiral's expression shifted. This mission was easy compared to what's coming. Word is spreading about this unit. Species are starting to wonder if the stories are true. If humans really are as dangerous as the rumors suggest. Are we? Maya asked. The Admiral looked at her, and for a moment she saw something ancient in his eyes. Lieutenant, humans survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own tendency toward self-destruction. We're the only species in known space that evolved as both predator and prey. We're creative, adaptable, and stubborn enough to bend reality when it won't cooperate. So yes, we're dangerous. The question is whether we use that danger wisely. He stood, signaling the end of the meeting. You have 2 weeks off. Rest, train, get to know your team. Then we'll see how dangerous you really want to be. That night, Maya sat in the station's observation deck, watching Earth rotate below. Home, the planet that bred a species crazy enough to look at the universe and decide they belonged there, despite all evidence to the contrary. "Thinking deep thoughts?" Raina asked, appearing beside her with 2 cups of coffee. "Thinking about strength," Maya said, accepting the cup. "About how we define it. The Crethians think strength is physical power. The Borvakians think it's martial dominance. But maybe human strength is something else. Which is? The refusal to quit. The ability to look at impossible situations and find solutions nobody else considered. The stubborn belief that we deserve respect even when everyone says we don't." Maya sipped her coffee. "I bent that pistol because I was tired of being told I couldn't. Not because I'm strong. Because I'm human. And humans don't accept limitations." Raina smiled. "You know what the Admiral told me when he recruited me? He said humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology or our tactics. It's our attitude. Every other species looks at a problem and sees obstacles. We look at obstacles and see challenges. They see reasons to quit. We see reasons to try harder." "Think it's enough?" Maya asked. "Out there, in a galaxy full of species bigger and stronger and older than us?" "I think," Raina said slowly, "that we've survived this long by being underestimated. Let them think we're weak. Let them think we're fragile. Then we'll show them what weak and fragile can accomplish when properly motivated." They sat in comfortable silence, watching home spin below them, preparing for whatever came next. The galaxy was vast and full of species who thought they knew what strength meant. Maya and her team would teach them otherwise. One bent weapon, one shattered assumption, one impossible feat at a time. Because that's what humans did. They proved everyone wrong, and they enjoyed every second of it. Down on Earth, in a small office in Geneva, someone filed a report about the Verdania Prime incident. It went into a database along with thousands of other reports, most of which would never be read by anyone important. But this one would eventually reach someone who understood what it meant. That humanity had found its role in the galactic community, not as warriors or conquerors or even diplomats, as the species who reminded everyone else that strength comes in forms they hadn't imagined, that power means nothing without wisdom, and that the smallest beings can move the largest obstacles when they know where to push. Maya finished her coffee and stood. Tomorrow would bring new training, new challenges, new opportunities to demonstrate what humanity could accomplish. But tonight, she was content to stand here, looking at the planet that birthed a species stubborn enough to bend the universe to their will. One impossible feat at a time.